Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Talkin Kop. It's Tuesday, the 22nd of October, and Liverpool play RB Leipzig tomorrow night in the Champions League. For us and for your I don't know what's the word we're going to
Benefit.
use now? For your what?
Benefit. For your benefit.
Yes, for ours and your benefit, we've put the live scores up on screen for you as you're watching this. So if you're watching the football, fair enough. If you want to watch us and you want to keep up with the scores, there they are, updating live on the screen as we speak. Most of them are still at half time. Arsenal have just kicked off, I think, in the second half, 1-0 up against Shakhtar Donetsk. Kev, just a couple of them scores I'm looking at there before we get into us. And Real Madrid need to get their finger out here, and they need to get their finger out quick because I know it's only 3 games in. There's 5 more to go, but would that be 3 points from a possible 9 for Madrid?
Yeah, I was just looking at the table before we came on. As things stand at the minute, if things are to finish as they are, Dortmund would be top of this super group, this league. Real Madrid would be 19th.
Hmm.
And it's not so, look, they'll get enough points, they'll qualify. It's just going to come down to the seedings and the fact that they could find themselves in a position where they could have to face or they could have to play a playoff first and foremost,
Yeah,
and then they could get drawn against a side who finished in 1-8,
yeah.
and that could be anything. At the minute, I watched the first half. It's the main TV game over here tonight
Hmm.
against Dortmund. I watched the whole of the first half. And it's the first time I've watched Madrid this season, and Dortmund are outworking them in midfield. No surprise that Vinicius Junior isn't tracking back, refuses to do any defensive work whatsoever,
Hmm.
and they're Dortmund going forward are attacking with purpose. And when you're playing against Bundesliga sides, you know they're technically good. They've got young players who are they don't care so much about reputations, and you've seen it in the Dortmund goals. They just went at it, and in Garassi up front, they've got a technically very good striker as well. So and a striker who's on form. I think it's like 12 goals in his last 8 games. So it's a for Dortmund fantastic result, but it's a deserved 2-0 lead so far.
Yeah,
But you expect Madrid to come charging back at them in the second half.
yeah. Madrid, of course. Megan reminds us there. Their next Champions League games are AC Milan, and then us. Now, I'm not too sure if they're home or away to AC Milan, but they're definitely away to Liverpool in a couple of weeks' time. Ashley's reporting that Marino is on a half time for Ben White. Um, she's not sure if it's injury related, but if they say it on commentary, she will let us know. Some of the results: Milan beat Bruges 3 goals to 1 earlier on. Monaco beat Red Star Belgrade 5-1. Arsenal are currently 1-0 up. Villa drawing 0 with Bologna. Girona are 1-0 up against Slovan Bratislava. Juventus and Stuttgart are 0-0. PSG are losing 1-0 at home to PSV Eindhoven. We've spoken about that Dortmund result so far. And Storm Graz are 1-0 down at home to Sporting Lisbon. They are all in the second half now. They've just all kicked off into the second half. I feel a bit like Jeff Stelling here. It's it's very exciting, Kev. Very
It is
exciting.
very
Um, but look, Liverpool travel to Leipzig, and before we get into who's travelled, who hasn't, what way we might go through it, and stuff like that, I've heard quite a few people over the last say 48 hours pose the question or even discuss it. You know, what would you give up in Leipzig to go as strong as you can into Arsenal? Or the original question was, would you take a draw at Leipzig if you meant you won at Arsenal, or would you lose? Or the usual question, Kev.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
where are you on it?
They're nonsense questions. They're questions designed to generate traffic and to generate conversation.
Yeah,
Ultimately, I want to win them both, and
yeah,
anything less than winning them both, I'm disappointed.
yeah.
So the reality is, tomorrow night we're playing against a side who have had two tough games in Europe. They're the only 2 games they've lost this season. They're unbeaten in the league, joint top with Bayern Munich. Granted, they've beaten it was a Bayer Leverkusen very early in the season,
Mm-hmm.
but the rest of the games that they've won in the league are games you'd expect them to win.
Yeah,
But they still had to go and get it done. Similar to us, you know, we had the one game that we had the blip on. Every other game we were expected to win, bar the Chelsea one, which was a toss-up. That was one you could have a discussion on. I think you can't take this side lightly. They do have good players. They've got players that a lot of people were looking at them as a shopping list this summer for a few of their players for us, and they went shopping and nicked one of the players that fans wanted us to be in for. So can't take them lightly. They're in good form, and I think we'll go as strong as we need to, but I expect to go there and get a positive result.
Yeah.
Well, that's a win, fantastic, but I expect to get a result tomorrow night.
Yeah. I think if you offered me a positive result, a draw or a win, and no injuries, I'm taking no injuries over anything, Kev.
Yeah.
I'm already at that stage in the season. I'm taking no injuries because, Jota hasn't travelled. Chiesa hasn't travelled. Now, Chiesa comes in, he gets a couple of subs appearances, but he's clearly not fit. No. Right? He's clearly done nothing since the Euros, or very little. He's not up to match speed. He's picked up a couple of niggles, which you can expect. But I'd like to see him back. I'd like to see him back fairly soon, or else we're kind of going, you'll start getting the Arthur Mello comparisons, and we don't need that. Elliot obviously hasn't travelled. Alisson hasn't travelled. Connor Bradley hasn't travelled. So it's one of those where, you look and you say to yourself, there's one or two there that would be in the side. We're hoping Jota isn't too bad. Bradley is a couple of weeks apparently. Elliot, we already know on him. We already know on Alisson. Chiesa, you just have to wait. But it's one of those, Kev, where I am in that frame of mind. I don't know if you are, where you just, are you taking anything once it's no injuries?
You'd always do, you never want injuries or suspensions. I don't think our squad, or virtually any squad in the Premier League at the minute, is in a position where you can accept injuries. The way I look at it at the minute is the 11 that we started against Chelsea, we still had a strong bench. Those players are all available to play tomorrow night. And there's a couple of others who travelled as well, but I don't expect them to be involved in anything other than filling up the subs bench. So I expect changes for tomorrow night, but I expect the changes to be of a good enough standard to come in and you're not worried by them. We'll get onto the lineups later, but I'm not too fussed about the quality of the side that we can put out. And, they've got a few injuries. They're all big games. But that in itself can bring its own energy. If you get good results, you're bouncing into these games and you're looking forward to them. You get a couple of kicks in the belly in these games and suddenly that tight hamstring is a bit tighter. That sore knee is a bit wobbly. And players can duck out of certain games because, just feeling an injury. But if you get the positive results, that doesn't tend to happen. So I think we're in a good enough spot at the minute. We're in really good form. We should be. The Arsenal game at the weekend is tougher because our last trip to Arsenal was an absolute masterclass in how to beat us, and we got our pants royally taken down.
Well, we handled them an awful lot as well in that game, Kev.
We did, but we never looked in any way, shape, or form capable of dealing with them. And the reason I say it is because Leipzig set up in a very similar way. They play with 4-2-2. It's 4-4-2, but it's 4-2-2 with your two strikers, your two 10s, your two 6s, and they give the wings one of the fullbacks or sometimes both will advance as well, and they'll lull you in and they'll attack you with pace, and they've got technically good forwards. So. And some real pace. They've got some raw pace up front. So we've got to be on it. But at the same time, I don't think we're going into games at the minute with a casual attitude of entitled FC, which we have seen in the past. I think we saw that against Nottingham Forest, where someone somewhere will do something and we'll get out of it. Yeah. That's about the only time I've seen it this season, and I haven't seen it since that game.
Yeah. Sporting have gone 2-0 up away at Sturm Graz. Stuttgart had scored of Juventus, but that's being taken off, I presume, for an offside or some sort of problem. So that's still all the scores still remain the same since half time. pizza's there. If we win tomorrow, we're up 2 wins and a draw away from finishing the top 8, which would mean you've 2 kind of dead rubbery games there if you want to just get in that top 8. And, unless you want to really go for it and try top the whole thing and see where that brings you, and that probably seeds you. They probably seed them 1 to 8 that way.
They do, yeah.
But you're still a seed. You're still a seed either way. And they'll find a way of people avoiding each other as long as they can.
It's not a draw. There's no draw in this now. It's literally, if you're seeded 1 to 8, if you're seeded 1, you're playing against the lowest seeded side from the group who gets through the knockouts in the next round, and you're playing the first leg away, I think.
Yeah.
Second leg at home. So from where you finish, you'll be looking at the sides who are playing in the playoffs, but you'll know which match to watch because you'll know who you're going to be playing.
Yeah.
There's not going to be any surprises in anything.
Yeah.
So
it's just
that's a weird thing.
Yeah. I just think like we travel to Leipzig. I think we travel away to Girona in this group. We have Real Madrid at home. I'm trying to think who else we fucking have in this competition because it's not like the group, and I don't learn them off the top of my head. But when we look at the injuries and we look at the players that are out, right? He has to be looking at Arsenal. I think he has to pick a team, Kev, with an eye on Arsenal because, look, there's 30 games left in the Premier League, right? Yeah. But there's a less margin of error in the Premier League than there is in this Champions League, if you get me. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, you think like in a competition that has 6 games left to run, geez, the margin of error is tiny compared to a competition that's 30 games to run. But I think the margin of error is smaller in that Premier League than it is in this league stage. So although I think he's respecting the Champions League, like of course he would. He absolutely wants to do well in it because he's spoken so many times about what he wants to achieve, where he wants to compete, and also refers back to the last time Liverpool were in the Champions League, and how they got on in it and where they finished in the league because of it. So he has got an eye on both of them, but I think he has to pick a team here, still off the back of the international break, off the couple of knocks they've picked up over that time and from the weekend, and going into Arsenal because it's a huge 10-game run we have here. But there's a couple of them in there where you go, do you know what? You don't want to lose that one. You just don't want to lose that one. And I think Arsenal is one of those. I think Arsenal, in this, which is quite at the start of it, I think City might be the last game in this run before the international break. They're two you don't want to lose.
100%.
So
and you could throw Villa
something. He has to pick something. Sorry, Villa have gone 1-0 up through John McGinn. PSG have equalised against PSV Eindhoven. But he has to pick a team, Kev, looking at Arsenal. No matter what way we try, say, like, we should go as strong as we can or whatever. He definitely has a lineup in his head for Arsenal.
I think the one thing that we don't know, I watched his press conference tonight, and it was surprising that there was no questions from the German media for him at all. Either the feed cut or they weren't asked, and he just answered the English press. He was quizzed fairly heavily on Jota, and he came out in the end basically saying that it was bruised ribs, which, if as long as it's bruising, happy days, delighted with life.
Yeah.
He might miss the weekend. Best case scenario is he's available on the bench at the weekend. That's the best case scenario. But he didn't say anything was broken or cracked or anything like that. That would have been a disaster. But the rest of them, the ones who travelled, he didn't say anything about anyone carrying niggles. Yeah. We've all read that Trent is managing an issue.
Yeah.
McAllister is managing an issue.
Yeah.
Gravenberch has played a lot of football for someone in his position at his stage of his career. It's surprising that he hasn't had that kind of volume of football in his legs, but this is the first season where he's getting it, especially for us. Similar to Szoboszlai, and it was Szoboszlai that was put up in the press conference. We've got 2 players going back to Leipzig for the first time as Liverpool players that were ex-Leipzig players in Ibu Konate and Dominic Szoboszlai.
Yeah.
And I think both of them will play. it's just a case of managing some of the others, managing the likes of Trent and McAllister through this, because I'd imagine even if they don't start, they will play off the bench some minutes, and then it's a case of managing what you have as best you can to get to the Arsenal game, get over that. Midweek next week, you can literally rest as many as you need to
Yeah.
and focus on the league game the following weekend.
Mm-hmm.
It's just about getting through these two games, and then worry about next week. And I think at the minute we're in a good spot compared to some other clubs. I think there's some other clubs are hurting a bit more than us, but at the same time, it's not perfect. It's not ideal.
Yeah.
You don't want to be into October, mid-October, managing minutes and managing injuries, but you have to. For all the years the Klopp was there, when it got to October, we were expecting 3-4 changes a game every game, just to manage the load of players through
Yeah.
October, November. You're going to get a load over Christmas anyway, and you reap the benefits of it on the other side. The times that we've struggled is when we've been carrying injuries, big injuries, early in the season, and players have had to cover minutes that they ordinarily wouldn't have had to do. So the sooner we can get Chiesa available to come in and shoulder some of these minutes to the front players, the better. Similar to, we're going to need the likes of Endo to carry some of these minutes as well. He's not been used at all, really. Very, very sparingly so far this season. I think he's going to need to be trusted to play some minutes and shoulder some of these game minutes as well. And at the back, Kwanzaa again hasn't really been trusted to come in any games since the start of the season. So at the minute, the centre back pairing is doing really well. It's been brilliant, but at the same time, I don't think they should be playing every game all the time.
Yeah. It's for me. It's when I look at it, I actually think the Brighton thing next week in the League Cup is kind of interesting as well, because a lot of people could argue like that. He could pick a really strong team tomorrow, go again on Sunday, and then say, right, now we're making massive changes for that game before we play Brighton in the league, because we're away with Brighton in that midweek, and then we are back against Brighton at Anfield a couple of days later. Real Madrid have got a goal back against Dortmund, by the way.
Here we go.
It's when I look at this, Kev, like it's funny because when you mention these names, I'm kind of going, yeah, and I'm thinking Gravenberch, and I'm thinking, where do you get Kwanzaa in for a game, or is he earmarked for Brighton? But like, I left this up on the screen. Scouser Pete says it. He says Leipzig gave up 17 shots against Mainz. If they play like that against us, it could be disastrous. So what I'm expecting here from Liverpool is a little bit of what happened against Chelsea. I'm actually expecting Liverpool to come out and go, okay, we're still in a kind of conservative mode after the international break. We have got a couple of lads missing. We might have a couple of lads in the team that haven't played an awful lot in the last 6 weeks, bar probably internationals. I'm thinking the likes of Simicast, etc. Endo. And we might go, you know what? Let them have a little bit. Because they'll give up shots anyway. Because when RB Leipzig play Mainz, I'm presuming RB Leipzig would have a fair amount of the ball. But if they're giving up 17 shots against a Mainz side that has less possession than them, it's probably a way forward for a lot of teams against them. Because for me, when I think of RB Leipzig, I think of I do think of pace. I do think of a lot of pace, and I think of a lot of attacking ability. And they probably want you to come out and play them, and they look to hurt you on the break and stuff like that. But I still can't look past Arsenal. And maybe it's just me, Kev. Maybe it's the age I am. Maybe it's watching Liverpool not win leagues for years. But my thing on this is, I'm going into this Leipzig game tomorrow going, what will be, just give me no injuries, because I want to absolutely hammer into Arsenal at 4:30 on Sunday, or whatever it is. I think it's 4:30 Sunday. I want us to absolutely hammer into Arsenal. I don't want us going in cold. They're playing at home tonight. We play tomorrow night. We're away. Okay, that's fair enough. They're missing a couple of players, but they're banging on, like Arsenal are banging on, like, oh, they're missing Odegaard and they're missing Saka and they're missing Saliba. Yeah, and we're missing people as well, lads. You know what I mean? This isn't a one-sided fucking game here. So, and they'll be bang on it, looking to overcome the whole Bournemouth thing, from during the week. So, for me, when I try pick this team in a minute, I'm definitely looking forward to Arsenal, and I'm saying to myself, I think we can get a job done here, where the first 2 wins have put us in a nice spot. You know, I think, you know, you win tomorrow night, it's a brilliant spot. You draw, you're absolutely fine. But I'm definitely going in picking this 2-2 Real Madrid and Dortmund. So yeah, that game is absolutely flying. And that's the only kind of change in the second half. Bar PSG, I think, equalising against, and Villa getting that goal. So, but 2-2 Real Madrid against Dortmund, which is very, very interesting. And of course, we did say at the start, if we did say at the start, they needed to get their arse in gear, and they look like they are starting to get their arse in gear. Yeah. So, Kev, we're not going to spend all night here.
No.
Let's pick a team. Oh, do you want me to start? You can tell me if you
agree or disagree. Should. You should.
Kelleher in goal.
Yeah.
Joe Gomez right back.
Yeah.
I'm going Konate and Van Dijk, but I'm going with the fact that if I think we're okay in the game, I think Kwanzaa comes on 60 for one of them, possibly Konate. Are you all right with that?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'd have started that so far.
I'm going Robertson at left back because I'm not mad about playing Gomez and Tsimikas in the same back four.
See, I'd have gone with Costas, but purely and simply because I think Robertson definitely plays at the weekend against Saka. And do you think
Saka plays the weekend?
Yeah, I think that if he's anywhere near fit at all, he'll give him an hour,
right?
Just for the fact of having it. So I'd be surprised if he's not.
Okay,
but I'd have gone with Costas. The other side of having Costas as well is set piece delivery. I think his set pieces are quite good, and I think I don't like Szoboszlai on them. I don't mind him on free kicks. I don't like him on corners, especially scenes as he's one of the 3 or one of the 2 that tends to sit back because he's quick. So when Trent takes the corner, Szoboszlai and Robertson are usually the deepest of the players on the edge of the box on the halfway line. And if Costas plays, at least, you know, he's there to do that. And with the way they've got pace in Luis Openda, you need that. You need someone that can cover. So
he's rock the field, isn't he?
Yeah, and I think Costas is fine. I know. I mean, he's capable of the odd rash lunge, jumping out of position and what have you. But I think if Virgil's in his ear all the time, managing him through, he should be okay.
Okay. Okay, so it's a toss-up. I'm going with Robertson, you're going with Thing. I think he plays... I think he goes Gravenberch, Jones, Szoboszlai again.
I think he does as well, but I wouldn't. I would go with Endo, Jones, and McAllister.
Would you? You see, I'm thinking... Yeah.
But I'd only be looking to give McAllister an hour.
Well, I was thinking the other way, you see, because I was thinking if you do Gravenberch, Jones, Szoboszlai, who've had a good game at the weekend, okay, I think on the hour you could look to say, right, I can bring McAllister in for Gravenberch if I want to, right? Or I could bring Endo in for the last half hour for Gravenberch, and I could bring McAllister in for a Szoboszlai. I'm just trying to think of
I'm just contradicting myself because I would have had where you play Endo and Jones with Szoboszlai as your advanced 8. I mean, McAllister come back from the internationals, and even when he came on against Chelsea, he needs more in his legs than that. If he's managing an injury, that's one thing, but I don't think it's tiredness or fatigue. The only reason I wouldn't have started Trent is because apparently Trent didn't train up until the Chelsea game. So he was managing an injury, so he wasn't able to train, but he still played him. So I wonder if it's a case that he needs to find out if McAllister's capable.
Yeah.
And if he starts and you get an hour out of him, then you'll know for the weekend. You can't drop him into. I think it's a really tough ask to drop him into the Arsenal game, having virtually 2 weeks of no meaningful football.
Yeah.
And by the way, you're going to the Emirates, and go and have fun with Thomas Partey and Declan Rice.
You mean McAllister in this?
I would, yeah. I want to see McAllister starting.
Oh, you
But
see, I think McAllister comes on and gets whatever he gets at the weekend. He gets 20 minutes again for Argentina. He comes back and he gets probably about the same for us, right?
Yeah,
My thing on it is that if he's nursing anything at all, I'd like to see him get a half an hour. I'd love to see him possible. And those changes, or even two definite changes I'd like to see on 60 is you bring in Endo McAllister and you take out Gravenberch and Soboslai.
yeah. I wouldn't. Yeah, that'd be okay.
And then you can move to that. That gives whoever's on the pitch a 60. Fine. It gives the people coming on 30. One who isn't getting minutes in Endo, but one that's just coming back and he's done 20, 30, and they're not overdoing him. Do you know, the sort of way?
Yeah.
But again, it could be completely different to what me and you think. By the way, Calafiori's gone off injured for Arsenal, a knee injury by the looks of it. Gyökeres has scored again for Sporting Lisbon. He's definitely worth a bid next summer to the next level.
Oh, big time. Big time.
Yeah,
big time.
A lot of people.
He impressed. I mean, Shawnee waxed lyrical about him when he was at Coventry.
Yeah, Shawnee loved him at Coventry, and do you know why that is? Because a cousin of Shawnee's is big into Coventry, so Shawnee always kept an eye on them, and he was going on. He going, this fella Gyökeres up front. He says he went to see him. He's an animal, but he's got a great move. He costs a lot of money. But a few people in the chat there are saying that Calafiori's gone off injured for Arsenal, which would be interesting. That could be another one gone for them. The Saka one is interesting though. I didn't think he'd be back. But I've even seen stuff today saying that, Odegaard may return for Sunday, which would be very interesting. Up front.
Yeah, I think up front is an easy one.
Is it Diaz, Nunes, Salah for you?
Yeah, it would be. Mainly because I think they'll play with Victor Orban. I think it's Victor Orban. What's his name? Orban, the centre back, and the other set. It's funny enough. They line up with similar to Arsenal with 4 centre backs. Well, three and a half centre backs. In Gertrude will play at right back. Lukeba and Orban will play in the middle, and Klosterman is likely to play at left back. But off the ball, they play a back three. Yeah. On the ball, on the ball, they play with a back three. Gertrude goes forward, but when they don't have the ball, they sit in a solid back four. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't mind Darwin Núñez running at Orban because he just doesn't have any. He just doesn't have any pace. He's positionally he's pretty good, but you can definitely force him drag him into positions where he doesn't want to be. Yeah. And you can really take advantage of that. I wouldn't be. I mean, I didn't mind Gakpo. I wanted Gakpo to play at the weekend when he came on. I was delighted for him. Diaz though, away from home, I think. I think the only reason Diaz probably didn't start was the travelling. Yeah. No other reason. It's not on form. He's on fire. So I think he definitely starts. Yeah, Darwin needs a performance. Really,
he does because
he worked his nuts off at the weekend, but he needs something going the other way.
And if I think he's definitely going to play at the weekend. Now, I have seen people suggest, and it's not a bad show, that the way we've kind of played this season, and I agree with this, the way we played this season isn't manufactured to make sure your striker gets plenty and plenty of chances. Villa are 2-0 against Bologna, by the way. Girona 2-0 against Slovan Bratislava, and nothing else has changed from the last time we updated you. It's not manufactured to get your central striker loads and loads of chances. We've seen that. We were trying to get midfielders chances. We're trying to get our wide men chances. And I've seen a few people saying, and I kind of thought, not a bad show, he might go Gakpo through the middle. He might do Gakpo through the middle. He may. And I'm not saying that's because he doesn't want to play Núñez. I think he might want to play Núñez against Arsenal. But I think
Núñez needs the minutes.
So do I. I agree. It was just something I seen. But I think, again, when we talk about those changes in midfield, Gakpo has to come on tomorrow. And who do you bring him on to help? If you're winning the game comfortable, I'd argue we bring him on for Salah. you stick Diaz right and you put him left. It's about picking the players that you want to protect as much as you can. You can't put none of them on the pitch. You can't wrap them up in cotton wool and go, none of them are playing, because that's the only way you can avoid injuries. Injuries come. It's just the luck whether you get them, whether they keep coming or not. A lot of areas, what we've got, there's been illness around the camp and different things and a few freak ones and stuff like that. But honestly, I think I want him to pick with Arsenal in mind, but I think he can go very, very strong here with his 5 subs. Once he sticks to that mantra of, listen, I'm trying to get all these on the pitch between 60 and 65.
I wouldn't mind seeing Cody Gakpo through the middle as an option to come off the bench. I think the one thing I think he's done with Gakpo and Diaz is giving them defined roles. And look, if you're going to come on, you're coming on the left wing, and that's it. And vice versa. If you're going to start you, we're starting you on the left wing. I can't remember if he played through the middle at all for us this season.
No, he hasn't.
And I don't think anyone else has either. It's been one or the other. It's been Jota or Darwin. Yeah. It's been the 2 lads on the left.
The only time I've seen anybody else going through the middle for us, I think, might have been the League Cup against West Ham. Does Luis Diaz come on and ends up going through the middle?
Yeah, but I mean, that's almost like experimental. Can he do that? Well, yeah. He can. Yeah. But it's almost a case this season he's given players defined roles and saying, look, this is what we want you to do. And that's going to be, unless something dramatic happens and we have to ask you to do something, then this is going to be your role. Yeah. So if he wants to use Gakpo off the bench, it could be for, it could be for any one of the 3. And he can shift them across. That's the downside of losing Jota without having Chiesa available.
Yeah.
And plus, you still don't have Harvey Elliott either. So it limits your options to be able to manage the load for the front 3, for the front 4, really.
Yeah. A few people are asking, Arsenal have just missed a penalty against Shakhtar Donetsk, Leandro Trossard. He's having some week, in fairness to him. A few people are asking who will replace Saliba for Arsenal. People are mentioning Ben White there, Jurrien Timber for right back, but Jurrien Timbers apparently has a bit of an issue as well.
I think it'll be Kivio.
If it is, I hope it is.
I hope it is too.
Yeah, I really do. If they haven't got Timber there, they probably have to go with Kriya or whatever his name is, because
I don't even know if Tomiyasu is available.
Well, the other thing is they could have moved Brem White into centre back and moved Timber out to right back, but I don't think they can do that with your man Kriya.
And they might have to use Zinchenko now at left back as well.
Emmett says here, Timber injured, Calafiori injured, and Saliba suspended. Timber due back in a few days. I don't mind the Jurrien Timber coming in.
No, mate.
Rusty, and up against like Luis Diaz or whatever. But
I want Arsenal at the weekend to have to take as many risks as possible with players.
Yeah.
Irrespective of the result of the day.
Yeah.
The more risks they have to take with players this early in the season is not going to help their cause down the line.
No. And this is definitely a conversation for another day. It's probably Friday night show when we preview Arsenal and who's available, who's not, what way we might do it. And tomorrow's match will tell us a lot with regards to that. What did I want to say? So, line-up wise, we're not far off each other. I think me and you are in the camp of, listen, you can go fairly strong, but use your 5 subs here tomorrow. Use them. Now, he might go the other way. He might go, listen, the 5 I was going to bring on, I'm starting, and the 5 you thought I was going to start are going to come on. He may do something like that, but I think if he manages the subs quite well tomorrow, I think he ends up with a really strong performance. I really do, and I think I'm quite confident this Liverpool side because of what happened on Sunday. We didn't go out and look to blast somebody away. We went out and we went, yeah, we can win it this way if we need to. We're comfortable. We're not going to give him any shots on goal. Chelsea have 2 shots on target all game. And that's what really boosted my confidence with regards to not only the way we come in football games, but the way he's thinking about football games. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I just had a quick look there at the Leipzig and Mainz game at the weekend. Mainz actually had more of the ball. And they had 17 shots, but they only had 2 on target. So it suggests a lot of long range efforts, a lot of maybe from corners or whatever. But the lineup that he went with is very similar to the lineup that's being suggested that they're going to go with again
Yeah.
tomorrow night. But Opinda apparently went off injured late in that game, so whether he's available or not, I mean, it's worth listing off who to watch out for them tomorrow night. Gertruda, we've already mentioned. Benjamin Sesko. Arsenal were really heavily linked with him.
Yeah.
50 odd million bids rejected, apparently. He said he wants to wait another year before he makes a move. 23 years of age, real live wire. Big, strong, powerful, highly rated, highly touted, come through the Leipzig, the Red Bull system. Xavi Simons, he's there now permanently. He's been on loan there for a while. Technically very good, bit lightweight.
Looks like Philip Coutinho.
Yeah, that kind of player, that kind of dynamic.
But he actually looks like Philip Coutinho.
Yeah,
genuinely. Put your hand over the top of his head and look at him. It's Philip Coutinho.
Opinda, absolute speed demon.
Yeah, he's absolute fucking demon. Yeah.
Lukeba, apparently we were linked with the centre back.
Yeah.
Gulashi, been there forever and a day.
Yeah, goalkeeper.
How many times is that going to be mentioned tomorrow night?
Every fucking 5 minutes.
At least. And they've a left midfielder, left forward, Antonio Nusa, Norwegian international, 19 years of age, 6 foot, a good prospect. One to watch because he's kind of like a wing back stroke, left mid stroke, left winger. He gets up and down. Bit like, what's his name? Ait Nouri type of left-sided player.
Okay.
Capable of doing a lot of things. So they've got good players, and they've a core squad that are very used to playing against each other. Vermeulen as well, been around, is another good player. So it's not going to be an easy walkover. It's not like you're.
No, not at all.
I think this is going to be only the third time that we've played them in Europe, and they are without a doubt the most hated club in Germany by a distance. And the abuse that Klopp is getting in Germany for taking on this role with the Red Bull group is off the scale. Yeah. It's unbelievable the amount of abuse he's getting for it. But it's going to be a test for sure. It's going to be a good game, and it's not going to be easy. We're going to have to be on it. So,
it is. As I said at the start, though, if you give me any sort of results and no...
That's a really good question. Do you think Klopp will be there?
I don't think Klopp's employed by the Red Bull group to be at football games. No, it wouldn't surprise me. He doesn't start
until but it wouldn't. It actually would for me. It would surprise because he doesn't take on the role for them until the 1st of January.
And maybe, yeah, I can see the point. Maybe he's looking at it going, listen, Liverpool's first trip to Germany since I've left, I don't really need to be shown up there. On a personal level to earn a slot on Liverpool Football Club. But listen, he can do what he wants. I doubt he cares what people fucking think. Do you know what I mean? He's never cared what people think. When it comes to things like that, he's not employed with them until January. I understand that, but listen, that'll all blow over. He's taking a job, the sort of way.
Mate. I'm telling you, the feeling towards RB Leipzig in Germany is really deep. They are truly hated for everything that they stand for as a group and for everything they stand for as a club.
Yeah,
they're the only club to go against the 50+1 model, and they're hated and despised and vilified for it.
Well,
it's. I don't think we understand how deep this hatred is. You'll have the majority of Germany supporting Liverpool tomorrow night.
Yeah, no, I know that.
100%.
Yeah. Look, it's one of those. It's a tough one to call. I think they're dangerous. There's no doubt about that. They're a dangerous side. At the end of the day, this is their away game against Pot 1. You know what I mean? So that says enough in itself already. You know what I mean? It's a tough one. It's another test. I'm really intrigued as to how he approaches it. Has he got a different approach to what he's done at the start of the season compared to what he's done against Chelsea? Has he got something else up his sleeve? But I've no doubt that he'll go out and he'll pick a side that he wants to win this game. but he definitely has Arsenal on his mind. There's no doubt about it. He'd be absolutely mad not to. Let's do a little prediction before we go, Kev, before we run. If anyone has any other questions, throw them in now. You have 2 minutes, and we might cover them before we go. Predictions, Kev, and you know the rules.
I think there'll be plenty of goals in this.
3-2 to Madrid, by the way. Just gone 3-2 to Madrid.
I think we win it tomorrow night 3-2.
Ooh, 3-2. You know the rules, Kev. Yeah, you know the rules.
I think it's going to be a barnstormer of a game. I think Salah will get one. I think Darwin will get one. I think Szoboszlai gets one.
Nice. Okay, I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw. That's what I'm going to go with. I think I'll be absolutely fine with that. As I said, no injuries, please. I think Luis Diaz gets a goal. And I think Dominic Szoboszlai gets a goal. I think Dominic Szoboszlai gets a goal. So they're me two. They're your two that I think will score. Emmett says, I'm delighted Madrid have turned this around. We don't need them coming to Anfield, scrapping for their Champions League lives. And Ashley straight away says nearly enough the same. That's okay. I don't want Madrid too desperate when they play us. 2-0 says Megan, Salah and Darwin. Núñez is getting a goal, I think is what Garmack is trying to tell us. That's absolutely fine. I'm good with people scoring loads of goals. Don't get me wrong. Núñez getting a brace is what Garmack says. So there you go. Listen, I'll take it. I fucking love Darwin Núñez. And I just want them to score so many goals. Liverpool. Juventus are down to 10 men at home to Stuttgart. Still Girona 2-0, Villa 2-0, Arsenal 1-0, PSG 1-1. Real Madrid, of course, have gone 3-2 up, and Sporting still hold that 2-0 win into the last 5 minutes or so in all those games. Big Virgin, a 1-0 win, says Avo. Emmett says 3-1. Salah, Diaz, and Jones. Nice. Super Dizzle says, you guys started without me. Were you meant to be on here? Super Dizzle, what's going on? Let me know.
Well,
give me a
make
shout.
sure you turn your notifications on, and you'll always know.
Turn your notifications on. Avo's in here. Does Avo get in here does Avo get into the chat as a moderator? Is that how he's doing it? Is that the swindle he has? I'm wondering if that's
maybe.
Yeah, I think he does, because it is, of course, set tonight to members only chat, but everybody can watch. But I think Avo's pulling a bit of a swindle there. And I'm not against it, but I'm not against it. Fair play to you.
Keep it quiet.
Yeah, well, he's not now, because I've just said it once I know.
Just out with him.
Yeah. But look, we'll be 4-2 to Madrid now. We will be there tomorrow after the game, scheduled for a 10 p.m. kickoff. But it's not a member show, you loon, says Avo. I know that, Avo, because I set the fucking thing up. But it's a members only chat. So there you go. And there's no membership sign beside your name. So what I'm saying is, as a moderator, you've managed to get in here without being a member. So if I was you, I'd pipe down just a little bit, or we'll have that spanner taken off you. There you go. That's all I'm saying, Abo. That's all I'm saying. Look, we will be back tomorrow. I will be back at 10 o'clock in the morning. I'll be back at 10 o'clock in the morning, but here's the rules, right? It's a member show. We love them, right? We come on, we talk absolute nonsense. We don't even release them as podcasts anymore, because people listening are going, what is going on, right? Or what is going on? It is a member show at 10 a.m. in the morning. We come on, we talk a bit about football, we talk a bit about whatever people want. Please watch at 10 o'clock in the morning if you're a member. And if you are watching, I've told you already, if you think of anything you want to talk about, put it in the notes on your phone and lash it at me in the morning. Kev, are you around in the morning?
I don't know.
What do you mean?
I might be, but I don't know. It literally depends on what time I get up in the morning, because
I get up at 9:30 and come on here at 10.
Yeah, might do.
Right, Kev may be on in the morning.
Yeah,
Kev may be on in the morning to join me, and we can have a waffle about whatever. So, but honestly, if you're a member and you're coming on to watch it and you're going, where's all the football chat? You've misread the whole situation at 10 o'clock in the morning. You've completely misread it. I know it's nothing to do with football and people are going, what is going on here? But we do things differently. You know what I mean? 10 o'clock in the morning, we can talk about whatever we want. And I will be here at 10 in the morning. 10 p.m. provisionally tomorrow night, because if the game runs over a little bit, it might be 5 past, it might be 10 past. But I think Matt, Kev, Chris and Ashley, I think these are all on tomorrow night. I think everybody's good to go tomorrow night. So there you go. And that'll be 10 o'clock tomorrow night. Reaction to Leipzig versus Liverpool. Avo says, I'm special. You fucking are. You can safely say that. You're definitely bleeding special. I'll give you that much. We are off. We're out of here. We're finished. Go and enjoy injury time and all those Champions League games. We kept up to date as best we could. And we'll talk to you soon. Thanks a million to Kev. Thanks a million to everyone watching. Thanks to all the members in the chat. Talk to you again. Over and out.